Tough day. K Rudd had a shocker. It's official. The former PM will not be the next Secretary-General of the United Nations after his own country refused to endorse him.
He's a former Prime Minister.
Well, it's just amusing, isn't it?
He's a Foreign Minister.
The bloke couldn't run a chook raffle.
K Rudd had his heart set on taking over from Ban Ki-moon as the chief of the UN. Basically, the world's most diplomat.
This language.
But he needed the PM to endorse his diplomacy.
This is a Chinese interpreter. The last word.
Kevin Rudd is a successful Prime Minister. It would be extraordinary if the government didn't support such a distinguished Australian.
But by midday, the extraordinary happened.
The government will not be nominating any person for the office of Secretary-General of the United Nations. I've spoken to Mr Rudd in the last hour and advised him of that decision. I don't want to add to Mr Rudd's disappointment.
But I will.
This is a judgment about Mr Rudd's suitability. Not everyone is well suited for every role. He is not well suited for this particular.
To his fans, K Rudd's the PM who sailed us through the GFC, apologised to the stolen generation, and was once one of the most popular PMs of all time.
Quack, quack, quack.
But he's also been described as a megalomaniac, an control freak, and a once-in-a-century egomaniac.
Personally, I wouldn't support an egomaniac either. Actually, can we shoot that again? I wasn't sucking my guts in. Personally, I wouldn't support an egomaniac either. Actually, can we get my good side? Personally, I wouldn't support an egomaniac either. Yep, that's your money shot. Boom.
So K Rudd's dreams of world domination are over, and Labor is crying foul.
It shows the weakness of the Prime Minister. Right-wing extremists in the Liberal Party have got the Prime Minister on a short leash.
Hope we've all recovered from that Limo money shot. We can move on. Sam Maiden is editor for News Corp. Sam, on a scale of 1 to 10, how sweary do you reckon Rudd will be right now?
I think it would be a potty-mouthed extravaganza. I would love to hear. I have heard Kevin Rudd in mid-rant, and it is a glorious and beautiful thing to behold. And so I can just imagine. I think that there would be a lot of that sort of language going on.
So, Sam, Malcolm Turnbull has made the decision that the Conservative wing of his party would have wanted. There are two on this. One is that he's caved to them and encouraged them to keep undermining him and extracting their pound of flesh. The other is he's thrown them a bone on something that ultimately doesn't matter and he can move on from there. What school do you belong to?
I would probably lean towards the latter, the pragmatic assessment that, you know, why lose a whole bunch of political skin for Kevin Rudd? And I think that there were some within the Liberal Party that did have legitimate concerns. And let's not forget that the Labor Party has spent years essentially trashing Kevin Rudd's reputation. I mean, the interesting thing about Kevin Rudd is they were more than happy to stomach him when they thought that it would mean saving the chair in the 2013 election, when Labor lost a lot fewer seats than you would have expected them to.
I think you're right. It's really cheeky of Labor to be complaining this turn of events, given that they were the ones who first claimed Kevin Rudd was a psychopath and many other colourful terms that they threw around about Kevin. But Kevin's statement this afternoon on Facebook makes a point that I really take on board. He says, you know, a nomination by the government would not have granted Mr Rudd the position. It would simply have enabled him to stand alongside the other candidate. It was always a long shot. Was it just a bit mean to not endorse him? He wasn't going to get the job.
I think he probably would have gotten the job. I think it would have been a chance if he'd stood for the simple reason that Kevin would have crawled over broken glass for this. Now, I felt personally wounded by that element of his statement where he said that, you know, I came to Sydney and all I wanted was a meeting with the Prime Minister, and Malcolm wouldn't talk to him in face-to-face, he just talked to him on the phone. And so, you know, I think that there are elements of this that are really tragic and would be deeply wounding for Kevin Rudd. So, you know, politics is a nasty business.
I agree. There's just a little part of you that's like, oh, God, I hope he gets an extra big hug tonight.
I'm sure Therese is watching anyway. She'll take on board the advice that you've given. Sam, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Poor old Kev. I think it would hurt a little bit more to know that the best you could sum up was an extra big hug tonight.
I reckon that'll fix him. He'll be all better after that.
You're underestimating and devaluing a hug, I think.
I love a big hug. Make no mistake.
All right, you'll get it in the break. Go on. By the way, if you want to see that, not now. If you want to see that statement that Kevin Rudd did put up on his Facebook page that Michelle mentioned, you can. It's on our website if you'd like to read it.
Time for a hug. Stay with us. We'll be right back.